Good evening. A couple of Fridays ago, we celebrated the ordination of Father Charles Warner. So yes, we have a new priest in the Diocese of Saginaw. In the ordination ritual, there is a moment in which the candidate stands in front of the bishop for some questioning. The bishop turns then to those in charge of his seminary formation, and the bishop asks, "Do you know him to be worthy?" The one in charge of his formation responds, "After inquiry among the Christian people and upon the recommendation of those responsible, I testify that he has been found worthy." Thank God there is another person that has to answer to that question, and not the candidate himself. Can you imagine being asked such a daunting question and you say, "Oh yeah, I'm pretty worthy of this, so please ordain me now"? No. And a very visible sign of the humility of the candidate is that after the homily, down he goes to the floor, face down, in a posture of prostration, because the majesty of God is present, and now we are asking all the saints to intercede for that candidate. At every Mass, at the moment of the elevation of the consecrated host and the chalice, we borrow and adapt the words of the centurion, the words that he said to Jesus, "Lord, I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof, but only say the word, my soul shall be healed." With these words, we acknowledge that we indeed are not worthy of anything. In great humility, we accept our smallness before the majesty of God. But interestingly enough, just a few minutes before, during the Eucharistic prayer 2, immediately after the consecration had taken place, we hear the following. These are the words of the priest. He is praying to God the Father. "Therefore, as we celebrate the memorial of his death and resurrection, we offer you, Lord, the bread of life and the chalice of salvation, giving thanks that you have held us worthy to be in your presence and minister to you." This indeed reminds us that it is the Lord in his power that make us worthy to stand in his presence, and not just our human efforts. In today's gospel, we hear from Jesus himself what we must do to cooperate in his desire to make us worthy to be in his presence, to serve him. In this gospel, he uses the negative form, normally translated as not worthy. In Greek is uk axios, not worthy or not deserving. And it appears 4 times, so that means it's important to make sure that we get the memo. The gospel of today is chapter 10 of the Gospel of Matthew. And Jesus said to his apostles, "Whoever loves father and mother more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me," Jesus says. This is a shocking statement coming from Jesus. We are so used to say, family is everything. And yet, Jesus himself is greater than family. Jesus challenges us not to take sides, but to put things in the correct order. Yes, family is important. And the family must be oriented always to increase our love for God. If family is the channel for the praise of God, blessed be the Lord. But when family becomes a hindrance to my relationship with Christ, choices have to be made. The early church had to face this. Pagan relatives would turn in other relatives to the authorities so that they may renounce their Christianity. Proof of that is the cover of our bulletin today. This is not about loving family less. This is about loving family and God in the proper order. God always first. Jesus wants to make us worthy. He also expects our priorities to be in the right order for that to happen. Jesus continues, "Whoever does not take up his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me." You know, an artist may say, "Follow my music, listen to it, follow my channel. It will brighten your day." A doctor may say, "Follow my directions, your health will improve." A teacher may say, "Listen to my teaching, study hard, learn, it will improve your knowledge." A politician even may say, "Vote for me, I will improve your life," and then wink. A philosopher may say, "Follow my instruction, walk on my path, you will find meaning." A counselor may say, "Follow these techniques, it will help you to cope with your insecurities." But only Jesus would say, "Whoever does not take up his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me." Only Jesus. The radical teaching of Jesus of lifting the weight of the cross on the shoulders and following him, only someone who was divine could say. Will you follow me? Will you still follow me even if you have to carry the heavy burdens on your shoulders? Will you not curse me instead like others would do? Will you follow me not just in good times, but especially in the bad ones? Carry your cross, follow after me. I will make you worthy. Jesus continues, "Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." One of the things that I learned in my ministry to senior priests is to listen to their stories. And they like to chat. We have to remember that these are lives spent for the gospel. These are the men who have baptized our children, buried our loved ones, preached on weekends, weekend after weekend, for many years. They have spent their lives for the sake of the gospel. You know what's so wonderful about our senior priests? They are happy. They are happy. Yes, they are tired. Some of them are sick. But they have zero regrets of having spent their entire lives for the Lord and for the church. Only few people will be called to lose their lives for Christ, as the martyrs would do. But all of us can spend our lives for Christ, his gospel and the church. Spend your life for Christ. Even if at times your life may feel lost, he will find you. Jesus continues, "Whoever receives you receives me. Whoever receives me receives the one who sent me. Whoever receives a prophet because he's a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. And whoever receives a righteous man because he is a righteous man will receive a righteous man's reward." This invitation of Jesus challenges us to welcome, because in welcoming others, we may be welcoming a righteous man or a prophet or Jesus himself, who is the presence of the Father. This is, by the way, the guarantee that being a messenger of Christ will not always end up in rejection. In fact, the majority of cases, people tend to welcome people of faith who want to sincerely serve the Lord. Receiving someone in good faith is receiving Christ himself. And finally, Jesus says, "And whoever gives only a cup of cold water to one of these little ones to drink, because the little one is a disciple, amen, I say to you, he will surely not lose his reward." We'll learn two things from this. One is that the disciples must remain small, as in humility. They are called the little ones. And two, we learn that we must learn to be hospitable and welcoming at all times. Did you know that here in the Diocese of Saginaw, we have priests from India, Colombia, Nigeria, Peru, Malta, Canada, and of course from this area of Michigan and other areas of Michigan or the United States. Father Nate, for example, is from the Ann Arbor area. He could have stayed there. His dad is over there. But no, the Lord called him to serve here. And he said yes. Many of us came here only with a backpack and one suitcase. It is the radical hospitality of the people of God like you that allows us to serve you as your priests. A cup of cold water may not sound like much, but it is a sign of hospitality and welcome. So, thank you. You know, this is the kind of stuff that artificial intelligence cannot do. Hospitality, welcoming, sincere reception, it just can't. A cup of cold water is something so simple and yet so profound. Never underestimate the power of your spirit of hospitality. It is true, we are not worthy of Jesus. We just are not. But He wants us to be worthy. He wants to make us worthy. And He wants us to cooperate in His desire to make us deserving of this love. So let us cooperate, therefore, to the love of Christ by our actions and by our proper realignment of priorities in our lives, always making Him first and above everything else. Lord, I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof, but only say the word, my soul shall be healed. Amen.